Yes, you can have a life as a business owner.
You sure?
I'm damn sure.
Hi, I'm Jordyn.
And I'm Sara, and we're both successful serial entrepreneurs who believe the world is way better with more. More women-owned businesses, more wealth, more magic, and more champagne. But before we can add more, we need to return old business ideas that are taking up too much space in our lives.
Enter The Refund, our content series for folks who are looking to return old storylines, concepts, and habits that no longer serve their life in business. Each episode, we're going to cover one topic, share 3 key takeaways, and we're going to receive a refund on what is no longer fitting the bill. # no receipts required.
Listen and watch The Refund on YouTube and wherever you love to listen to podcasts.
Yeah, this comes up a lot about can you have a life and also run a business?
The answer is yes. And also it should be yes. And if for some silly reason you feel like it's a no, I think that's a good indicator that re-evaluating your situation needs to happen.
And we need to kill hustle culture.
We need to kill hustle culture.
I think we can blame the hustle, work until you're, you'll sleep when you're dead. Hate that phrase. I'm returning that. I love sleep.
I love sleep and balance and rest days and self-care. Again, you're going to burn out if you don't take care of those things. So we are returning the concept that you cannot have a life if you're a business owner. You can run a successful business without running 80-hour work weeks. You can run a successful business without running yourself into the ground.
Yes.
That is a concept that I think a patriarchal society, a capitalistic society has really driven into us.
Yes.
And we just can return that.
And we don't have to do it all. That's part of having a life and having boundaries. And we feel this pressure as women to feel like we have to do it all and work, but we don't
have to.
No.
We don't have to.
You get to decide the life you want to live. And once you realize that, that's very freeing.
It's so freeing. And I think that's what makes business ownership and entrepreneurship sustainable. That's where sustainability comes into play. When you can find balance is also a really tough word, but there is a balance between what you're doing with your friends, what you're doing with your family, what you're doing at work, what you're doing in your business. There's going to be seasons of growth. There are definitely going to be seasons of hustle and hard, right? I'm not saying that there's not, but it's not this nonstop grind. It's not this nonstop culture. It should not be that. And I think there's a really unfortunate misconception that that is the only way to build and run a business.
Totally. And I feel like know your season. Again, you work in a retail business, Q4, it's the holiday hustle. You just know that's when you make 80% of your revenue, you're going to work super hard, and then January 1, you're sleeping for 2 weeks.
You're snoozing. You're taking a break.
You're going to the spa.
Did you think when you started your business, did you subscribe to the hustle culture nonstop?
Yes, I thought it was sexy.
24/7.
Yep, when I started Mend, I was working nonstop. I was hustling so hard. Again, pressure. I felt all this pressure to deliver. And then I crashed after every holiday season. I would get super sick.
I was going to say, did you get sick?
Oh, yeah. I used to get sick all the time because I never set boundaries on focusing on the right thing, not doing everything all the time, not chasing every single thing, like being very selective with my time. But I felt like when I wasn't working, I wasn't doing anything, which is not a thing.
So you had guilt around that?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's capitalism, right?
Right. I too felt like I needed to detox. I knew when I went full-time in my business, I knew that I was going to have a structure that allowed a lot of flexibility. Flexibility and freedom are paramount values in my life.
Yep.
Outside of just my business goals and my business values. I knew I'm going to need flexibility. I'm going to need some freedom. And so that was something I kind of went into structuring as I was learning how I wanted to work, as I was learning what felt good, as I was finding my rhythms. I knew that I needed to have freedom and flexibility to structure so that I can work from anywhere I want. I didn't want to have to be bogged down with a lot of equipment in my professional career that I wanted to. I mean, even as simple as when I was buying my first big fancy laptop when I went full time, or my computer, I should say.
That's a big purchase.
I went with a laptop, which as a designer, as a graphic designer, a digital designer, most designers have the big fancy, what is it even called? An iMac,
the desktop.
The desktop, right? Because it's got more powerful processing and all that. And I thought, yeah, cool, that sounds amazing, but what sounds more amazing is for me to be able to be adaptable and work from anywhere. And that was a priority for me. And so once I decided, I knew, I guess, not decided, I knew I was going to embrace true flexibility in my business. I structured so that I could, but it still took some detoxing of this corporate norm or what my partner was doing or what my friends and family were doing. I was the only one that had this flexibility to do whatever I wanted at 2:00 on a Friday or 2:00 on a Monday.
Correct.
And that took some getting used to of not having guilt.
Yes.
Around, I'm going to put on a show over lunch, or I'm going to go hang out with a friend, or whatever.
Take an afternoon
during
off.
work hours.
Yep.
What are work hours?
I feel like there is something transformative when you realize there's a difference between a job and a career. A job is a means to an end. I'm making money, clocking in, clocking out, paying my dues, and a career is I'm going to do work that has a vision, longevity, and a lifestyle. Anytime someone comes up to me, they're like, oh my God, how do you do it all? I'm like, I don't. And
at least not all at once.
Correct. Yes. I don't do it all at once. And second thing I ask, like, before you, like, jump into any career, job, business, I always ask, like, what is the lifestyle you want?
I agree.
You want to live in Spain? Have
Yes.
siestas?
Yes.
Drink vino?
Yes.
With your children, however many you want?
Maybe. Just kidding.
Then you want to have a flexible life, and then you buy a laptop. But it comes up all the time, and everybody has a different level of capacity of what they're willing to do.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with that. And like what you just said, you bought a laptop knowing, like, as a design, everybody's like, oh, you didn't get the big desktop iMac. But like, you either know it because you have the instinct, or you're like me and you burn yourself into the fucking ground.
You really had big burnout.
I burned myself into the ground where I worked and worked and worked. And now with my consulting business, I have the dream and the mindset of, oh, I work where I want.
Yeah.
And I only work 4 days a week.
Yep.
And I have flexibility. So if something comes up or if I need to go work somewhere, I have that autonomy.
Yeah.
Autonomy?
Yeah, I think you're saying it all the same.
I have autonomy to do that.
Yeah.
But it took me returning that idea of that you have to be physically where you're working, you have to be clocking in X amount of hours, you have to be in this mindset of work, or you're not providing value, and I disagree. People who can deliver stuff efficiently and effectively, and people who don't respond to emails after hours, I'm like, damn, like,
they've got some boundaries.
You have boundaries, and you have a life.
Yeah.
And I respect that.
Bravo. So that was something you didn't have, and that was something you saw, and you learned, like, okay, cool, I can do both. It's really, I call it my and life. I don't like the word but. I like the word and.
Yes, and.
Yes, and. I'm that. Which, weird, I was a theater kid. I was always on stage.
I mean, you're yes-anding your life.
Yes-anding my life.
This is great.
God, I'm yes-anding my life. Yes, and. I think you're onto something with some people have that natural instinct. They know that they want to do it. And then other entrepreneurs that are going to stay entrepreneurs have the burnout experience. And then they realize this isn't sustainable.
Yeah.
I'm not living a joyful life. I'm not having fun. Like, fun is another one of my core values. If I'm not having fun, I'm out. I'm going to leave. Like, I'll leave the party. I'll leave the restaurant. I'll leave the TV set. TV set. There's a TV. Nobody's watching on TV.
I just
aged myself. I'm 700 years old. They're gonna close the browser window.
They're gonna turn off the VCR.
They're gonna leave Chrome.
They're gonna turn off the records.
They're gonna turn off the camcorders. But you're out.
Yes.
And if you want to truly build a sustainable business that you can continue doing, you have to have an awakening. So I came to it knowing you came to it with an awakening. But what are some things? Let's talk about some specific things that are actionable items that maybe we've done or we've learned from other people that everyone listening can learn and practice in their daily business too.
Yes. First one, I feel like keep it simple. The first, I feel like, boundary I put up that, like, I stuck to actually happened during the pandemic. And it was Friday nights, I don't do anything, and I will not feel bad about it.
So
That's
not
my
even
night off.
work-related. Not work-related and also not
Friday
social.
nights, yes.
Friday nights.
Friday nights,
We're
Friday
just home.
evenings, I am home. I have
interesting.
shows that I like.
Yeah.
I make it for myself. My partner, my husband can join me. He's always welcome, but it's optional. It's like, I'm going to order a delicious meal. I'm going to make a delicious meal, and I am going to do nothing.
I like that
and
one.
I am unavailable. It's simple. It's like, I am unavailable on Fridays. And I really don't do anything. And again, the pandemic showed me when I was doing nothing on Friday, and I was like, this is awesome.
This is good for me.
And then I can enjoy my weekend.
Yeah, it's like a detox moment. You're like winding down, and then you can feel present for the rest of your weekend.
Yes.
That serves you
and
well.
And then I'm like,
That's interesting.
Because then I'm jazzed to go out to dinner on Saturday night. Friday night, I'm burnt. I'm like, when I get to Friday, I'm done. I want to put on my
You're tapped
fancy
out.
pajamas, and I've created a routine around it where it's like, I make sure I'm prepped for the next week. I put on my fancy pajamas. There's usually a show or two that I want to watch, or a new movie, order a good meal, and then I'm done.
That's good.
And that's my night, and I love it.
I sometimes get really creative on Friday nights.
Oh.
And I feel like it's kind of the end of my week, and the stuff I won't design unless I have a big block of time, like very free to design. And I never work on a weekend. I'm not going to touch my laptop on a Saturday or Sunday. That's time with my family. That's time with my friends. That's just time with myself.
Boundary. Ding, ding, ding.
Boundary.
I need a sound effect to go ding, ding, ding.
Oh, we can add that in post. But sometimes on Friday evenings when my husband Will can take my kid Abel, I'll just, and this was also during the pandemic too, I would just lock myself in my office and just get some work done. And I felt there was no deliverable pressure. It was like bonus time.
Yes.
And so I really actually enjoyed that creative free time and play, but I never forced it.
Yeah.
So if I'm not in a season where that's working, like it hasn't been my jam lately, I won't do it. I won't force it. But I liked the Friday freedom. That's kind of like what it is, having
Friday
the freedom to do whatever on a Friday.
And again, like, it's just, there's no pressure. And it's like, and you're not like, it's no tech. It's just decompress. And like, it's so crazy that I lived a different life where I felt this pressure to show up after just giving 110% to your clients.
Yeah.
To just say, you know what, like,
This is for me.
This is for me. And then I get a great night's sleep.
Oh, that's so good. I like that one.
I get a really good night's sleep, and then I'm totally present Saturday and Sunday for people.
That is a really good one. I think presence in general, so many people I feel like struggle with that. Or there'll be even days where I'm like, I just like floated through the weekend, or I floated through the week and I don't feel grounded. Okay, that's a good one.
And it's simple. Again, like, it doesn't need to be this huge boundary. It could be as simple as like, you know, you don't respond to emails until 10 a.m. because that's when you need the space to be creative or have the headspace, or you don't look at your phone when you have a cup of coffee in the morning. You're present. Like, they're really simple boundaries. So I think like keeping it simple is the first thing. And when it's something you enjoy, you get a reward from it. Like, I look forward to Fridays and my brain is like, oh, I'm going to get a reward. So there is the excitement of like, oh my God, I get to Friday.
It doesn't need to be overcomplicated.
No.
And it can be fluid. Just that's part of the keeping it simple. I like that.
I'd say keeping it simple.
I have one.
Yeah,
I have one. So I have a team of all women that work with me, and we all have very different schedules. We're in different time zones, and right within our proposals that we send to our clients, we flat out articulate that we don't work traditional business hours, and they might get emails from us at odd hours of the day, but we're not going to respond. That's not time for conversation. So if we have really strict timelines just to keep the project flowing, to make sure that we're able to deliver on time, so it helps us plan out our client workload. And if we say something's going to be delivered on Tuesday, I mean Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. We're gonna deliver it on Tuesday, and it's not going to be necessarily by 4 p.m. because maybe the team didn't even pick it up until after the kids went to bed, or after they had time with their partner, or after they made dinner, or whatever, because we're not working traditional hours, and I don't think that we need to. But we clearly articulate that with our clients before they ever sign on with us. We have like an FAQ sheet at the end of our proposals, and it just flat out says that. But I also make sure, like, this isn't conversation time. So the client doesn't feel like they need to respond to us at midnight. Like, I don't want to nurture that or foster that environment either. But it's just when I say Tuesday, I want the full 24 hours of Tuesday to deliver.
That is so smart. And like now I am going to put that in my contracts. Because again, like I have a fluid kind of like these are my working hours and it's actually usually early in the morning. And I always feel like I'm that person who's sending a like 6 a.m. email. But what I love is you're respecting both people. It says our team has boundaries, you have boundaries because we've worked in corporate America and we know when some assholes
I gotta reply.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock at night and it's like, where's that deck? And you're like...
Or waking up and seeing that on your phone, that's just anxiety driving. Nobody needs that. You don't have to have that in your business. You can have freedom to move and breathe and be flexible.
It's just communicating.
Fluidity.
Yeah.
And my therapist calls that preferences, not expectations. Setting
like
preferences.
on your phone. Like how you set up your notifications. Because I silence everything.
Yeah, me
all
too.
the time.
I never have a sound. As
Not
a creative,
me.
so you have balanced brains. As a creative, it's wildly distracting to me, and then I get derailed, and then 45 hours later, I've watched some crazy YouTube channel. I've watched the whole channel. Follow us on YouTube and subscribe. And I've seen every episode, and I can't get distracted.
And there's studies around that is literally multitasking. The second you like pivot to that Slack message, it takes you 20 minutes to go back.
I'm done.
20 minutes. I silence everything, text, calls.
Yeah.
It has to be an emergency if you're trying to get a hold of me.
I agree.
But like that is years of practice though.
I agree.
Like it has taken me 5 years to like truly have boundaries in my relationships. My business has been really hard. The guilt piece is hard. But like you just solved one of those problems and it's communicating and having a client that supports that. Because if they don't, then it's not a good fit.
Totally. Just communicating that preference.
Yes.
Which maybe in this example, it's a little bit more firm than a preference. Maybe it is an expectation, but whatever. Pick your word. Pick your word. But yeah, really making it clear up front.
That's so smart.
What that communication is going to look like.
I'm putting that in my contract because
let me know how it goes. It's gone well for us.
Yeah, because it's like in the summers, Friday has kind of been like my flex day where it's like sometimes I meet people for coffee or sometimes I just like want to take the afternoon off and do summer hours.
We've done walks on Fridays.
Yes. Or like Friday, like my biggest boundary from this summer was like summer Fridays, be done at noon, no working afternoon. And like just go on a walk, take a nap, go lay by the pool. Like you don't need to work.
And your business will be fine.
Yes.
Your business will be fine. You have to give yourself the ability to just fucking return this stupid concept.
Abundance. Let go of the fear-based minimal mindset.
Oh, what if I miss this? Okay, it'll be there on Monday, and you can reply to it on Monday, and it will be fine.
Unless you are a surgeon.
I was just going to say, unless you're a brain surgeon, a medical
you
professional.
have to be there.
But most entrepreneurs are not.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
So just like chill out. You just got to chill out about it. So yeah, we just communicate that straight up front. And that's a part of our qualifiers or dreamy client to work with us. If you don't like that,
criteria,
you're not my client. And that's totally fine. Again, we're talking about getting there faster. That's what we want to do. Get there faster with our right people. So my dreamy client sees this and they're like, yes, I love this about this team. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And it works. So that's I would say a good number 2.
It's values alignment. They're in alignment of the value of balance and like true balance. Third thing I think is accountability. You got to tell somebody or else you'll never do it. You need somebody that is going to be like, did you do that thing?
Did you take the break?
Yes. And like, I think if you have a partner, husband, I told my husband, I was like, Friday nights, we do nothing. I mean, I do nothing. He's flexible on that, but he loves it, and it's now part of his life.
Oh, cute. But he will support you in that. Like, hey, Jordyn, I see you're working.
Yeah,
or, hey, Jordyn, you booked yourself out again. Or, hey, Jordyn, you've got 2 Fridays in a row now that you've made plans. Got it. So he's a checks and balances.
Yes, and you can have, like, we'll work on the title. Okay. We'll work on the boundary buddy.
Boundary buddy.
BB, cute.
A little BB.
We gotta.
So you need a boundary buddy.
And you can have someone personal. So if it is like a personal one where you take a Friday night off, whether it's a friend or someone you live with, tell them, hey, I'm doing this thing. Business-wise, have your business people. Both of you should have boundaries and just check in with each other. I think that goes so far too beyond having your little business buddy, even if it's not your boundary buddy. Maybe it's a different person. Maybe it's a different type of buddy. Biz buddy, yeah.
But I think that goes back to the concept of surrounding yourself with an A+ team of people. Those business owners, those entrepreneurs that really get it.
Your Avengers. It's your Avengers. They're like superheroes who have different superpowers, but you all need each other to... But you're right. You need that team to come in and support you on all of the fronts, but they can also hold you accountable
an accountability partner.
And you have to write, it's like, tell people, write it down. It's just like anything. If you write it down, you're more likely to achieve it. And if you tell people...
I gotta challenge you on this, though.
Really?
I think statistically that's true, but I think
are you not a writer downer?
That feels limiting to me. That feels. What happens is I feel guilty
if you don't
when
do
I
it.
don't do it again.
That is so interesting because
so I have to give myself freedom to just hold myself accountable in a way that works for me.
Yes.
I can't.
You can't write it down. You can't. But that's how
I do
you
my yearly goals. I do, but I literally have a person that does it with me as like a paid job.
That's amazing.
Tiff literally and I go through and we'll review them quarterly because I will not do that on my own.
That is so... but that's the difference between like someone who is wholly creative. I would consider you type B because
I'm like a type Z.
You're so fluid, and I love that about you. And I'm like in that type A mindset where like I love to write it down because that feels empowering to me, where it reminds me.
Yes, which is why I challenged you on that, because that's going to work beautifully for you, but that's not going to work for me. And it's about just knowing what works for us, right? That's
100%.
That's the key. So you need to write it down. Yes. We don't know what I need to do with it, but
you need somebody. You need a person.
I need a part.
You need like a person to like be in there with you, remind you of it. It's figuring out what works for you. And again, if you're not excited about the boundary, I think boundary is such a bad rap, but it's like if you're not about like creating the life that you want and having kind of like these fences, it doesn't even need to be a boundary. Like you need to reframe it.
I just heard that boundaries aren't about keeping people out. Yeah. Boundaries are about keeping the right people in.
Yeah, so it's like a fence.
Isn't that a prettier way to look at it?
It's not walls, it's
not
a fence.
Harsh.
Yeah.
It's not not inviting people into your realm. It's making sure the right people are coming in.
Yeah, you're protecting your people and it's protecting you. Okay, so it's keep it simple. Simple boundaries. Communicate your boundaries and make sure that it's a values alignment, especially from a business standpoint of what your boundaries are. And then have people that support it and remind you of it.
I think that's succinct and actionable and important. Or else that creep starts happening, your business starts to run your life. Burnout happens. Mm-hmm. You can't divide the two.
Yeah, you're unhappy.
Yeah. And most people start a business because they're passionate about an idea, they're excited about a lifestyle, they're getting away from something they don't love. Like you didn't do that to work all the time. You did that for some sort of freedom. There was a reason you left what you were doing before you ran your business.
Totally.
So don't let it creep into something it doesn't need to be.
Value over hustle. Know your value.
Hustle. I like that.
Cool.
Amazing. That was good.
Those
are good little tipsies. Good little
tipsies. Okay. They need to do something.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on the socials.
Yes.
They're somewhere here. They're somewhere.
Just follow us. Tell us what you liked.
Leave
DM
comments.
us.
Oh, yeah. Slide into our DMs.
We accept DMs.
We accept DMs. And follow us and subscribe anywhere you listen to your podcasts.
Yes. Too. If you want to listen to us, you want to watch us, just follow us.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's it. See you next time.
Bye.